had broken up with my children's father, and I had a restraining order against him. And one day, one of these incidents had led to a fight, like many of the incidents, but then I was arrested. And so I didn't have anyone to care for my children while I was arrested. And so DCP&P stepped in and removed my children. When I came home, it was just straight to court and straight to try to do everything to get them back. And their father's family at first refused to take them. So they were staying in one home together when they first went, and then there was allegations of abuse there, and they were separated. My children were separated. My daughter lived in Teaneck, my son lived in Irvington. And then when they had their first weekend visit with me, I was gonna get custody back, and my ex-boyfriend had beat me up in front of my children. And so they removed the children, and that's when they went to their father's family house. At first, you really don't see it. You don't know, like the controlling. You just think that this is the way you're supposed to be. I didn't know that it was okay for me to have my own voice. I just thought, this is what you got to do to be happy, because I was just how I was with my kid's father. Even though I wasn't happy, I just wanted them to have a two-parent household. So they put me in a drug treatment program, and an anger management program, and an individual therapy program. They also told me, you got to go to domestic violence counseling now. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go to domestic violence counseling. And then they told me they didn't think that domestic violence counseling where I was going, where I was getting the anger managed, was sufficient. So they made me go to another one, which was like 6 or 7 months long. And in between them were court dates that they were like, well, she hasn't completed this, so we got to move forward with adoption. But luckily I would get a judge that's saying like, well, she's on the right path, so we got to work with her. I had gotten my CDLs. I would drive in New York back and forth to St. Albans Hospital, Queens, Brooklyn VA, stuff like that. And I was with them for a few years, but there were EMTs at my job, and I felt like they did nothing and they made more money than me. And I said, I'm going to do that. So I had saved up my money, and I paid for the EMT course in 2016. So I would go to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I would work Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I would do my clinicals on Sunday at the hospital. Tuesday mornings, I have to do my homework. I'd be in the Brooklyn VA library falling asleep, and my job would be calling me on the walkie-talkie. I'm driving down the highway with the recording on, the audio books, listening to my homework. I had the support of my instructor. She would let me take naps on my lunch break on the mats we use for the patients. She would sometimes buy me lunch. I would come straight from work and get dressed in her office for class. And they were like, if you don't make it to your program or you don't make it to therapy, because we had family therapy, then we had the individual therapy, and I had the reunion house where I had to see my children, and then I had therapy with just me and my daughter. So there were a lot of programs put into place, and they were like, you better make it to everyone. Even the judge told me one day, I think I had missed maybe 2 visits with my children because I had started a job and I was like on a probationary period. He was like, I don't care what you have to do, but you make it to see your kids. You make it to therapy. You make it to your program. They didn't want to hear anything. It just was a lot, but I was doing it because I couldn't tell them, no, I don't want to do it. When it started, they were kind of really young, and then they would just cry every visit, and then it started to get to the point, where they wouldn't cry, and I'm like, well, do you miss mommy? And it was just they started to get a little cold because they were moving from here, and they just weren't happy. So it was hard because I felt like their childhood was being taken away from them. And my mom just just don't give up. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna give up. It makes no sense. It's pointless. And she had my back. She was like, don't worry, just keep trying. It's gonna turn out good. When they came home, I was so happy because I wouldn't say I was depressed, but it was only thing I knew was being a mom. So it was hard for me to walk past their rooms, and I wasn't making breakfast anymore and giving baths. So it was so exciting for them to come home. I mean, I loved the bickering. Like they would argue and stuff. I would just laugh like, you guys are so crazy, like, because it was good to have them here. And then we were always doing something. It felt good to get in the car and just drive and didn't have to say, okay, I'll see you guys next week. So I was happy. Sorry. It was like the best thing that could happen to me. I still EMT on the weekends and in the evenings, but I'm a hyperbaric oxygen technician now. So, I mean, they sent me to Texas for training. I've never been on a plane before. So I'm really excited. Like, I'm getting ready to be safety director at my job. So I feel like I've come a long way, and it's a good feeling. I feel like I'm actually a mother now. Because before I was a mom, but I didn't feel like a mom. Now I feel like I'm a mom, and a good mom too.